So, Andrew, what are we seeing in the European market as we head into Q4?
Well, Q3 underlined just how defining the IT infrastructure companies have been in the European data center markets. I mean, take Amsterdam, for example, where they've completed their phase one deployment and now they've moved their attentions to other markets like London. So Amsterdam's take-up in Q3 was less than a megawatt. And London has bounced back to record almost 14 megawatts of take-up in the last 2 quarters. It's also fascinating to see what Microsoft have done to get over the data protection issues post Safe Harbor. They've just announced a joint venture with Deutsche Telekom, whereby Deutsche Telekom, as a German state-controlled entity, will act as a data trustee to actually host Microsoft's data, so that in essence, foreign governments can't get access to the data. And I expect we'll see more of this type of joint venture being announced in the future.
Why are the colocation companies so keen to attract the IT infrastructure companies?
Considering that IT infrastructure companies represent over 2/3 of all demand at the moment, the colocation companies want to make sure that these firms come to their facilities simply to fuel their own growth. And that part's quite straightforward. The more subjective point is the bet that the colo companies are making in aggressively competing with each other to attract these companies, often at lower than market rents and on particularly flexible terms. They think that having the cloud platforms in their facilities is going to attract the enterprise users as and when they're ready to adopt cloud services. Now, several Q3 financial reports have highlighted for the first time that the theory is working and enterprise sales are increasing as a direct result of having these on-off ramps to the cloud.
Do you think that these IT infrastructure companies will turn their attention to second-tier markets? And could these markets fulfill such demand?
Yes, and they are deploying in second-tier markets. This is driven by both data protection issues, which are driving a more geographically dispersed model for them, and also to reduce latency to improve customer service. I think they will struggle to find suitable existing data center facilities that can accommodate the scale of their requirements, but all the markets are different. So for example, Istanbul and Milan have both got good quality new wholesale colocation offerings through companies like Xenium and Data4, but these are the exceptions rather than the rule. Some countries, they really get it, and they're trying to attract these IT companies. One of the ways they're doing this is to ensure there's a good supply of modern data center facilities, and the Luxembourg for IT program is a great example of this.
Okay, moving on. Now that we know that the Equinix Telecity takeover is happening, following the antitrust process, what are your thoughts?
Well, the combined entity will become Europe's largest data center operator. Equinix have got a very strong ecosystem, and this may expand to Telecity, whilst also harnessing Telecity's ecosystem to benefit the Equinix US customers that are expanding into Europe. I think this, combined with one less competitor in key markets, will invariably harden pricing, and indeed we might well see some price inflation in some locations. The competitive landscape created by the new entity will somewhat be diluted by the EU's requirement to divest facilities from the new company, and those facilities will be spread across London, Amsterdam and Frankfurt.
Okay, great. Is there anything else of note before we sign off for another quarter?
Well, just as you think you know what's happening in the IT world, you have a conversation that throws it all into the air. And I had one of those conversations with a chap called Dan Thomas. He's the founder of Compare the Cloud, and he spoke about emerging technology which enables artificial DNA to be used as a medium for data storage. So apparently all of the digital data that exists in the world today could be stored on just a few grams of DNA. Now exactly what that means for data centers, I'm not sure, but it's a fascinating topic.